Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox is our guest. Let's go on the record. Reshaping the BPD, rebuilding community connections, what he's accomplished so far, what he wants to see next. The commissioner joins us at the table.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
And welcome to OTR. I'm Sharman Sacchetti. Ed Harding is off this Sunday, and I am joined by Karen Anderson from 5 Investigates. With us is Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox. He became the 44th commissioner of the Boston Police Department in August of 2022. Before that, he served as the police chief in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He began his career with BPD and is a native of Boston. He holds degrees from Providence College, Curry College, and BU. Thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for coming back. All right, I want to start with kids because you became emotional earlier this month when you were announcing the arrests of 40 suspected gang members. Now, the suspects, they were accused of preying on young children, getting them to commit crimes for them, and really putting them in danger. So this is kind of personal for you. What kind of an impact do you think this had?
Well, you know, first of all, it was a pretty significant investigation we did, and part of it, you know, working with a ton of partners, it was clearly a pattern over the years of these older adults manipulating, enticing, you know, intimidating young people to do the most heinous crimes that there are in the city. From shoplifting to you know, murder, or at least attempted murder.
Use them as lookouts, that kind of thing.
Lookouts, yeah. You know, selling drugs, you name it, they did this, and they've done it for a long period of time. You know, and I think it's, you know, it's just a disservice to so many people, and I think personally, you know, role models. And you think about all the role models in the city and what we're supposed to be doing, and so. I don't know. I take this stuff personally, and the fact is that I feel as though, you know, as a city, you know, maybe we participated in letting these young people down, you know, as they now took on this life of crime. I think it's been addressed in some ways around these adults, but for them, they have some ground to catch up on. But we want to make sure that the next generation of young people have choices, and the city's doing all they can to make sure they address some of those issues, fill in the gaps where it might be between families and the needs that they might have. You know,
this made an impact, you think, on crime in the city of Boston?
It certainly made it in the Bromley Heath development. I think it will absolutely make an impact. That many people involved when you. We are fairly focused on the people who drive crime, and those were the drivers of crime in the city, particularly in that place. And yes, it will absolutely have an impact for the city. What happens in the future, that depends on how much we get in there, and as a city, to make sure that the next generation of young people are developed and their needs are met, so that they don't get mentored by, you know, people like this, right?
Right, and statistics show that violent crime is down in the city of Boston, but there are incidents, like last summer's shooting during the Caribbean Festival, that can really have an impact on people, shaking their confidence. You have been a champion from the start of community policing. Let's just start by saying, what exactly do you mean by that, and how have you implemented it since you've been commissioner?
So, I mean, Boston's, you know, we've been doing it for a long time. Maybe got away from it a little bit, but now we're emphasizing it. And what that means is building trust in the community, you know, in any way we can. Because when you have trust, you have cooperation, you have understanding, you have so many different things around, you know, making the community stronger. We can't solve crimes if we don't have the community support and help. It just can't happen unless we see it ourselves and do something in there. We need the public to be involved. And the fact is, the public needs to inform us what's going on in their communities. We don't live there. We're not there all the time. We don't have an insight on what's going on or what they're fearful of. So we need to build trust, so we always have that communication between the public, so we're in the right place at the right time, that we're doing the right things, where we are there in relation to what the public wants. And every person in our department needs to do that in some way, shape, or form.
And do you believe that trust is growing, and in what ways?
Well, I absolutely do believe it's growing. You know, so early on, you know, in my time here, there's been certainly some, you know, pretty high-profile events. We've asked for the public support. We've received the public support. You know, we've had an uptick in our, you know, text to tip line and things of that nature, Crime Stoppers, where people actually are telling us, you know, about activities that are going on in the area. I mean, you know, we've gotten a lot of support from the public, and we're very thankful for it, because we couldn't be successful. We're focusing on the right people. and removing them with the help of the public. And we hope this continues, because if we do this, I think our crime rate will continue to get lower, even though it's one of the best in the country.
We do
right now.
have a lot to ask you about. I want to ask you about the emergency shelter crisis driven by the surge of migrants that's coming to Boston. Hundreds of people coming to Boston really on a daily basis. We don't always know a lot about all of them. A new emergency shelter that is about to open at Fort Point. 400 people are currently at the one at the Cass Center in Roxbury. This is also, a highly charged political issue. How do you deal with it from a law enforcement perspective?
So, we're not political. We actually enforce laws, work with the public. And so from our perspective, and it doesn't matter who comes here in our city, if you come here to live, work, play, visit, you need public safety. We're here to provide it. We're here to work with people to make sure everyone's safe.
Are police at these shelters? Are they located there?
So currently they're state-run facilities, and so it's not in our jurisdiction in the state-run facility. Now, that being said, obviously people leave, walk around, go to school, what have you, and they'll get all the services that every person in the city gets, and we'll make sure that. I'm just concerned to make sure that they're not preyed upon, that we just talked about this, where people will come in and see people that they think are vulnerable and take advantage in some way.
I want to ask you about that, because in New York City, we've seen some confrontations. Yeah. We've seen that type of thing between migrants and the other people, and also police. Do you see anything like that happening here?
We've not had that experience here in Boston. We've not had any negative exchanges with any person here visiting in that capacity. But Boston's also a different city than New York, different size, different issues, different problems. I like to say we're a lot better in so many different ways. Doesn't mean it can't change. It's just that we're not New York in that way. So.
Now, we know you work closely with the feds on the gang arrests that you were just talking about, but talk to us about ICE and the role that ICE plays in Boston as a sanctuary city.
So, the Trust Act exists here. We abide by that, and so we don't really have a relationship with ICE in that way. And so we're about building trust with the community so we can actually keep it safe and solve crimes and deal with fear of crime. And so, ICE has a role in the federal government. We don't really work with them. I can't really, say much more about that. I do know this, is that if you do commit crimes and you do things, and it doesn't matter what your status is, that's where our role kicks in. But we're not, your immigration status is not a question we ask, nor do we care about.
All right, you need to recruit more officers for Boston Police.
Yes.
We've talked about this. You talked about this the last time you were here. That is a hard sell right now. You're having a hard time with that. Do you feel like you have enough officers coming in to make up for those who are leaving, either retiring or just moving on to other jobs?
So we are hiring. We're able to field a team. We have officers that are on the street, and I don't think people have to worry from that perspective. But we are not attracting as many people as we have that are retiring naturally, just due to age. And so, we are concerned about it.
So you need more people coming in to make up for the ones that are leaving?
We do. But more importantly, we want people to have an interest in law enforcement. We want people to have an interest in building trust with the community, in public service in general. And so, this is a wonderful job in all those ways I just talked about. But we need young people to want to join us. And we're having a little trouble getting over whatever stereotypes that they might have about what we do. But this past class, we were quite fortunate. We had some help with, I think the Celtics helped put some things up in the Jumbotron. We did a large marketing campaign, and we were able to, in general, prior to doing that, we had maybe 100 people sign up to take the exam. I think in the end we had over at least 11, almost 1,200 people sign up to take the exam after we bombarded them with, some of the marketing things around our job. So we're going to work as hard as we can to make sure people understand what it is that we do and the importance of the work. But we always need help. We always need help from the media to, highlight what it is that we actually do and the importance we are in the city. And so, anyone watching, if you want to give back to society again and give public service, please take our exam. Please join us. We need you.
Quick question: do you believe that the Boston residency requirement is sustainable, and do you support it?
So I came on. I was a Boston resident. We're still hiring Boston residents. Is it an impediment? I don't know. Right now, the biggest impediment we have is the desire to want to go into law enforcement.
It's expensive to live in Boston, though, and to raise a family in the city.
It's expensive to live in Massachusetts, I think, right? It's expensive to live in general. The cost of living has gone up. And I think we do provide a fair wage across the board, I believe. And so.
So you don't think the residency requirement is any sort of impediment?
I mean, it could be a factor, but I don't think it is, because there's other cities and towns that don't have residency requirements, and they're struggling as well.